Hi there, this is Joe Morrison, founder and CEO of Razor Sharp Consulting and creator of the Donor Finder system. I'd like to welcome you to part 3 of my new online fundraising workshop series titled The One-Page Template I Use to Bring in Thousands of New Prospects in 90 Days. We're going to look at this page in depth, and then I'll give you a bit of a case study and show you how I use these same principles and tactics to substantially grow nonprofit organizations across the country. But first, I want to remind you that this training is totally different than others that may be out there. It doesn't take a lot of time or money. It's proven. It's not technical or complicated. It might just be the most simple, easy to understand fundraising strategy that you've ever seen. It's so simple that the whole strategy can be summed up in one page. We're on video 3 of the 4-part series. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the Fast Lanes Donor Highway, a one-page system that gets donors zooming down the highway straight into your fundraising campaign. I chose the highway scenario because I think it represents what most of us want, a highway with fast lanes to success. For many years, I traveled every day into Center City, Philadelphia on Interstate 95. And let me tell you, it was anything but fast. Very often I wanted a Joe-only lane that would whisk me past all the congestion and get me to my destination. Well, that's what you can have with the Donor Finder system. But before we get too far into learning about how to even find the fast lanes to your destination highway, let's quickly review what we learned in the first 2 videos, okay? You'll recall that I showed you 3 core reasons why you're struggling. I talked about lack of time, that most nonprofit leaders spend 90% of their time searching, clicking, trying to figure out what to do instead of actually doing something. I talked about tech overwhelm, how you often get bogged down in what tools to use, what software to use, what to do first, who to listen to, and that there's more and more bad information coming our way, misinformation, too much information. Then I covered the wrong tools. I mentioned that there are lots of tools available. They're just the wrong tools, and the right tools make all the difference in the world. Next, I showed you the automatic revenue roadmap. We identified that for most of us here, we're struggling. So we want to get you to surviving. If you're surviving, we want to get you to thriving. And let's focus on exactly what you need to do to get to the next level. And then we need to adopt the right mindset. You have to shift the way you look at growing your nonprofit to a much more simple model. That's exactly what the Donor Finder system is. It's a step-by-step framework that allows you to scale your nonprofit predictably, have the right foundation in place where you know your donors, and then a scalable system that you can use to move people from being attracted to the organization to being engaged in the organization and being converted from prospects into donors. We spent the majority of our time in the last video talking about the 7 key ingredients of virtually every successful fundraising funnel. And I gave you the Double Your Donors roadmap and had you create your rules of one listing. We discussed what that one profile, one program, one system, one request, one donor magnet, one funnel, that one traffic source that you're going to use that's going to attract, engage, and convert prospects into donors. Hopefully, if you've already filled that out, but if you haven't filled that out, please go back and do that. And then when you've done that, you'll be ready to continue. So go back and get that done if you haven't already. It's important for you to know those things as we move forward. Wouldn't it be wonderful if you could just find that fast lane to success? That highway where all the lanes have your name only at the top. And if you had a sports car like this one, you could gun it at top speed and fly down that highway just once. I often thought that as I was struggling with how to raise larger and larger sums of money and how to find new donors for a project or a campaign that I've been working on. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. What are those lanes? What do they look like? And what do they do? Let me remind you about the ground rules so you can get the most out of the training. I created this system to help you stay focused. I'm sorry, I got lost there in my train of thought. But I want you to be focused and be very attentive, because very often we find ourselves watching this on one screen, and as I was just doing, and thinking about something else. And you might have your phone in the other hand, and you're doing other kinds. Turn all that stuff off. As I said before, this short training is really going to change the way you look at growing your nonprofit. And I want you to stay focused and actually learn something instead of being distracted like I just was. I also need you to be interactive. Ask a question below in the Facebook comment section. Leave a comment. Tell me that you're there. Show me that you're following along and that all of this is worth it. And finally, don't forget to stick around to the end of the training. We're almost there. I have a very special gift for you. It's a way of me saying thank you and congratulations for taking action and getting clear on what you should be doing in terms of online fundraising. Fair enough? Okay, so let's jump right into this, shall we? We need to understand what a funnel is if we're going to understand the Fast Lane's donor highway. And basically, a funnel is that thing that captures lots of potential people and filters them out to be the best prospects, to engage in our work, and then turns those prospects into donors. Lots of people at the top, few at the bottom. And the more prospects we get at the top, the more donors we're going to spit out at the bottom. Without the framework of a funnel, you lose the ability to filter people, and everyone gets treated the same, and you lack the ability to personally connect with and engage with your potential donors. And that's an essential element of any good fundraising effort. Now, I created this system to help eliminate funnel frustration. That overwhelm that you sometimes feel when you look at the things that you have to do to turn those prospects into donors, the amount of work, the number of decisions you have to make, the endless materials that are required sometimes, and that often makes you just want to scream. Yeah, I know, I've been there. Believe me, I feel your pain. The problem is that most funnels, whether they be for fundraising or anything else that you might be doing, are way too complicated. You have to be a rocket scientist sometimes just to figure them out, and it just isn't helpful. Many funnels do nothing to plug the leak in your bucket, where you're losing more prospects from lack of engagement and follow-up than you're gaining. And if you do find a funnel that works, they tend to be very expensive to implement. And for organizations with limited funding supported by donations, you don't want to waste your money on things that are overpriced. I can't tell you how many times as executive director I've told vendors or service providers, that's just way too expensive. So no thanks. And one final failure of most funnels, again, I don't know why I always choose these alliterations, but one final failure of most funnels is that they fail to even get you off the ground. A failure to launch, especially when it's not your fault, is simply unacceptable. I often tell people that 90% complete is the same as 0% complete. You get a pass or fail grade when it comes to launching something. You either have done it or you have not. There's no middle ground. So I wanted to create something that could be easy and simple to implement, take the cost out of the picture, provide you zero tech overwhelm, and get you flying down that highway to success. How good would it feel just to sit back and relax in comfort and style and cruise down that highway? That's what this Fast Lanes framework does for you. You can see that I've identified 5 fast lanes to bringing in new online donors. And those lanes are ads, emails, pages, as in landing pages or website pages, outreach, and offline efforts. Yes, sometimes you need to do things offline to support your online efforts. They are all integrated so that one thing triggers another, which triggers another, which triggers another. So it's not only integrated, it's also coordinated and automated so that everything supports the movement of prospects down the highway to the final destination, which of course is becoming a donor. And I would hazard a guess that you've probably never seen such a simple, easy-to-use system of donor identification and cultivation. I purposely created the system to be extremely simple, to take the guesswork out of what to do next, to focus you like a laser on creating a system that's proven to work. It's basically a drag and drop kind of effort. Follow this structure and you'll get results. The beauty of the system is that it's fully automated. Yes, it takes some advanced work to set up, and anyone who gives you a system and tells you that there's no work involved is either a salesman or is lying. And quite frankly, there may not be any difference between those two things in my book. There's definitely work to be done here, no doubt, but it's not like you have to think about what elements to include. I've already given them to you. And then once it's all set up, it's fully automated. That is, it happens automatically from start to finish. You can go play golf or spend the day at the beach, and the system will still be cranking out donors for you. Now, isn't that amazing? You can actually move from having no donors or few donors and not knowing where your next donors are coming from to having donors on demand when you want them. You have a new project that you need to raise money for? Crank up the donor finder system for it. Experiencing a bit of drought because of summer months? Crank up the donor finder system and get those prospects into the fast lanes to becoming donors. That's going to really quickly move you from having a trickle of donors in what seems like a fundraising desert to a flood where donors are pouring down and creating donor puddles at your feet. Okay, that may not quite have come out just right there, so excuse me for that phrase, but you get my drift here. So let me show you how I was able to use this system in a real-life case to bring in over 14,000 prospects in 90 days for one of my clients. These are the actual ads, the emails, the landing pages, and the donor magnet that out of the gate brought in hundreds of prospects every single day for more than 90 days straight, and it's still growing to this day. And I'll show you exactly how big it got. Hold on to your hats, folks. You won't believe what I'm about to show you, but it's all true, and you can have similar results too. Now, I have a confession to make, okay? Everything I'm about to show you is absolutely true. However, I didn't have the donor finder system completely in place when we started the process. As a matter of fact, it was success with this client that allowed me to formulate the idea. And although we followed the 9 steps listed here to a greater or lesser degree, I had to create the support materials in order to present them to you. And now I feel a little bit better that I've confessed that and it's out of the way. But boy, the results we achieved were truly remarkable. And it goes to show that if you're willing to put in the work, you can achieve great things. So as I've said before, when you're building something, a house, a business, a nonprofit, you really need to have a good, solid foundation in place. The client I'm about to show you had a great foundation, over 35 years of providing cancer education to the public. The organization is officially known as the Center for Advancement in Cancer Education, but is also known as Beat Cancer, which of course is a lot easier to say and remember. And when I stepped into the organization, the executive director, or the CEO was his actual title, had just been hired, and although he had a great business background, he didn't have much fundraising experience. And that's typical in a lot of nonprofit organizations, and so I really wasn't surprised. I was surprised, however, at his willingness to do everything that I asked him to do without hesitation. And as a result, he and I really built this system together. And I owe a great deal of credit to Carl Wagner, who has since become a very close friend of mine and who gave me permission to share some of the details of our work together. And I'm proud of his own willingness to accept criticism, to change things that needed to be changed, and improve on things that worked. True to form, we began our work by following the rule of ones we discussed in the last video. We asked ourselves, who are we really trying to attract to our organization, and what do we want from them? And we felt that our perfect donor was probably female, 45 years or older, providing care for someone with cancer, or knew someone maybe affected by cancer, attended a lecture or seminar, because the organization did those all over the country, and probably purchased a product or downloaded a publication. So these factors, these key factors, helped us to develop keywords that we could later use to target our market. We then chose one program on which to focus, and we had a bit of a dilemma because at the time we had 4 programs that all needed funding and that were all worthwhile. Eventually we settled on our cancer counseling program because it was our first and our core program, and was provided free of charge to clients who needed someone knowledgeable to talk to about either preventing cancer or how to best to fight cancer once they had it. So one profile, one program, check, check. We moved on to the one system we had in place to move people through our organization. The system helped answer the big question, why should anyone give to us anyway? And why should they give to us now? Since our purpose was to provide free cancer education to the general public, we developed the following belief and mission statement, which encapsulated our system. We believe 90% of all cancers can be eliminated through environment and lifestyle choices alone, and science agrees. Unfortunately, most people don't know it. So we provide the education that can help you prevent, cope with, and beat cancer through diet, lifestyle, and other immune-boosting approaches. 3 parts. Boom, there it is. There is our system. Prevent, cope with, and beat cancer. It's what made us unique. Now, every prospect that lands on our page is subtly told, even if they never even make it past the header, what makes us different and how we work. Our donor magnet, I will admit, was a bit tricky since we had no idea really what people wanted to download. Remember, we didn't have the donor magnet matrix yet created, or else we would have followed the advice there, but we ended up creating that as a result of what we found and what I found in other organizations as well. Instead, we took a popular report that was published by our founder called the Immune Perspectives and offered it to people just to see what would happen. And boy, were we surprised. Now, the important thing that we did here was to create an email subscription block. Basically, in order to get this report, you provided your email and then we sent you the report. And we put this block at the top of the front page of our website so that every visitor would see it. And then we placed it in probably the most prominent spot there is on the web, the upper right corner. Now, there are lots of key places, and we can talk about that in another session, but we put it in a prominent location so people could see it. Next came our one request. We knew that we would get nothing if we asked for nothing, and so we made sure that we asked. The one thing we wanted was for people to download that report, which was our donor magnet. That really, once they did that, then we were set. We knew that if we could do that, it would put them into an automated sequence of requests delivered over time. But that was really our one request, download our report. But we didn't stop there. Once they downloaded our report, we set up an automated series of email requests, which ultimately led them down the path to a request for donations. And since that's what most of it you want anyway, I'm sure, I thought I'd show you the example that we used of our solicitation request. Now remember, you can request anything that you'd like at the beginning. You can request that they like you on Facebook. You might request that they answer a survey or comment on a blog post. And we settled on a request for a donation, not as our first request, but as our 4th request. And we used the statement that no one is ever turned away for their inability to pay. And then we immediately made a request for their help. No hiding from it, no shying away, no secret phrases. Please make a gift to our cause. We then began using the same request for the same program in all of our fundraising materials. Your one request doesn't have to be your last one. As a matter of fact, it should not be your last one. But you have to start the ball rolling somewhere. So make a determination of what you're going to request first and then stick with it. But be sure to do the follow-up as well. And if you can automate that follow-up, I would encourage you to do that, because that's what makes this system so worthwhile. The funnel was really a breakthrough moment for us, especially when we realized that we could automate the funnel and not really have much human interaction after it was set up and turned on. Again, although this specific form had not yet been created, we followed the same basic funnel structure, starting with the ad, following with emails, using landing pages, conducting outreach via telephone when necessary, and coordinating our work with our offline efforts, which you'll see in a moment. And you should really count your blessings, I think, about right now. I'm giving you something that took years of practice and refinement to get into one page so that you could easily understand it and follow it. It's like handing you money on a silver platter. I really hope you understand and appreciate what you have here. Then we moved on to our one traffic source. We eventually decided upon several because we ultimately began using Facebook too to help drive traffic to our blog. But we began with one traffic source, and it was free. We used Google AdWords. And I want to spend a few moments here because it was so important to us and potentially could be very important to you as well. The donor finder system explains the exact process that we use to sign up for Google nonprofits, enroll in Google AdWords, and get approved for a $120,000 annual grant, and then create the ads necessary to start attracting prospects to our website. Now, this is gold, people. When's the last time someone offered to show you step by step how to get a $10,000 a month grant? This is the most exciting part, in my opinion, of this whole presentation. I'm going to show you the exact ads we used, the keywords, and the results that we achieved with the help of Google. Once we enrolled and were approved for our grant, we created several text-based ads. Google AdWords only allows you to create text-based ads rather than ads with graphics. But hey, it's free, so we weren't going to, shoot a gift horse in the mouth. We found that the more ads you create, the more people that you can reach. And so we experimented with many different versions of our ads, and I'd encourage you to do the same. Here are some of the actual keywords we used for the one ad in one campaign. We have since paused all of these ads, but you can see that the number of clicks we got were pretty substantial. And this is just one day. This is capturing one day, a single day. 42 for one keyword, 42 for another keyword, 34, 31. You can see that in that time period, we spent one day, we spent $1,000, $1,012.61 to get 568 clicks using various keywords. And again, it was Google's money. It was Google's money, not our money, right? We weren't spending our own cash. So how cool is that? How cool is the fact that somebody can give you money you can spend on AdWords and get these kinds of results? Now get ready, okay? Hold on to your hat, as I said before, because this next slide I think is going to blow you away. We started our Google AdWords campaign on October 1st, 2012 and ran it through December 31st, 2012. That's about 90 days, right? Look at the circle. 14,037 users. That's unique visitors. Over 14,000 in 90 days. And get this, look at the chart to the right. I'm not sure if you can see it too well, but over 88% of people were new people. So this just wasn't me refreshing the browser 14,000 times. These were individual people coming to our site. And you can see by the arrow that we started the campaign on a Monday, and by Tuesday, we had 62 users on that day. Just ahead a month later, we were at 102 prospects on that day. Another month, and we're seeing 324 prospects on that day. Now that's, I think, going in the right direction. Wouldn't you agree? By the end of December, we were seeing 351 prospects on a single day. So with a little foresight and advanced work, I helped my client bring in 14,037 people in just a 90-day period. Now, that's very exciting to me, and I hope it's encouraging to you that the principles, the techniques, and steps that I'm showing you actually do work. Unless you think that this was simply a fluke or an accident, let me move ahead a few years, okay, and show you the number of prospects that we're bringing in right now. Are you ready for this? Hope you're sitting down. The same chart, different time frame, March through May 2017. Over 95,000, nearly 96,000 prospects in a 90-day period. Again, the majority of these prospects were, 83% of them, are new. So if you could bring in 96,000 prospects in a 90-day period, do you think you could convert some of them, even a small percentage of them, into donors? I hope your answer is yes, because you can do it. It is possible to do if you have the right system. Okay, so on to the 5 fast lanes. The one system that can produce the kind of results that I just showed you. The first of the 5 fast lanes is ads, which I just showed you, okay? If you decide to use Facebook rather than Google, you can certainly do that and pay for it yourself, but your ads will look and perform a little bit different. I can help you with Facebook advertising. Just ask in the comments section below or send me an email. But I chose Google AdWords because it's free, and the majority of nonprofits can qualify for it. So the second lane is emails. And what's so great about emails is that they can be automated based on triggers, the actions that you or your visitors or prospects take, right? And when your email sequence is planned, you can lead your prospects down a chosen path, your chosen path. But it looks very personalized, highly personalized to your prospect. And the more automation you can build into your systems, the more efficient your system is. And the quicker you're going to get your prospects to their final destination, which, of course, hopefully is a donation. That's why I adopted the P5 copy strategy from Aaron Fletcher, once again, that marketing genius. When you plan your emails to go out in the following sequence: problem, program, proof, ping, and promotion, you logically move people digitally and psychologically through any objections that they may have to giving. You'll make them think a certain way. You will make them feel a certain way, and you will make them, most importantly, act. The email sequence we chose at Beat Cancer involved a number of emails and direct mail pieces being sent based simply on the initial trigger of them signing up to get our free download, which of course was our donor magnet. Now, everything was not sent out at once. Instead, there was a time delay between when things happened. In the Donor Finder system, I show you how to set up the email sequence, decide upon the right delays, and follow the P5 copy sequence, dealing with the problem, program, proof, ping, and promotion in that order. Our next fast lane page or section is pages, specifically website pages or landing pages. Ideally, your prospects should move through a series of website pages, hopefully with the video explanations and stories prompted by emails and ads. And when properly sequenced, your prospect doesn't even realize that they're on a practically endless loop of landing pages, which are all designed to do the work of cultivation, which is really the practice of communicating and engaging a prospective donor in your work. And like everything, a proper landing page has a framework. There are different elements all working together to persuade a prospective donor to think, feel, and act. And so it's important to know what you want before creating landing pages and before you create the sequence flow. One thing that I feel is absolutely essential is that you greet the visitors on every landing page with some form of welcome or explanation video. This has a huge effect on conversion rates. That is, people actually getting to take action. In case of Beat Cancer, our landing page had a welcome and a brief explanation of our services or what we did from our founder, Dr. Susan Silberstein, who was immediately identified as an expert on the subject. I explained why expertise is important in the Donor Finder System course, and all the key elements are found on this page, though, and you need to ensure that all the correct elements are on your landing page as well. The next lane is outreach. Personal outreach. Occasionally, you need to talk to actual people, regardless of how automated or hands-off your system may actually be. The interaction can yield some of the greatest results that you can imagine. Face-to-face or voice-to-voice solicitation and engagement is by far better than even the most personalized automated system that there is. So don't neglect this part of your online efforts. You may need to answer a question or prompt someone to take action or handle a technical problem that can only be handled by picking up the phone. What's important in your outreach efforts, especially when it comes to fundraising, is that the interaction that takes place between the organization and the asker and the prospect is the right interaction, okay? You have to communicate your mission and values. And there's a framework for that, okay? The key element in the outreach framework, of course, is that the asker, and it should always be someone that knows the prospect. That is the key element there, that there is an asker. And yes, of course, this framework is going to help you understand how that interaction takes place, but there needs to be an asker, a prospect, and an organization that the asker is asking for. And when levels of satisfaction are all raised, in all levels, larger and more frequent gifts can be expected. And that's really what this outreach framework shows you. So the last lane in your 5 fast lane highway is offline marketing. Your online fundraising always needs to be supported by your offline marketing. And it's important to reinforce whatever message or program that you're promoting online, but your offline marketing should only go to your best donor prospects after they have qualified themselves in some way by downloading something or engaging with you in some other way. Your offline marketing should be reserved for your best donor prospects. When prospective donors receive reinforcement that what they're giving to or about to give to is important and need it now, they're more likely to give. In our case study, the offline marketing consisted of a series of letters, educational pieces, and even a customized newsletter of sorts. Each piece was meant to build on the previous piece, and only after the prospect was properly cultivated was there a request for a donation to be made. And these offline pieces complemented our online work, but sometimes we were a little bit broader in scope than just our cancer counseling program. All in all, our case study was really a tremendous success, all due to having thought through a great many things. Our work was helped by having a solid, proven framework in place that took the guesswork out of all of our efforts. So now, once again, the choice is yours. I know I've said it before, but you can choose what to do. What you're doing right now with no framework, but lots of frustration and overwhelm, or you can just follow a clear path and get real results like I've showed you, which, again, I hope you will do. To get those results, I'd like you to download the Fast Lanes Donor Highway Framework and study it. Look it over and see how everything fits together in perfect order. It's simple, it's straightforward, and it gives you the basis of your plan for all your fundraising, online fundraising efforts. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You've got to have clarity before you can attract, engage, and convert prospects into donors. And without it, you're going to be chasing your tail and wasting a lot of time and money. I've got one more video to send you along with that special gift that I've been telling you all about. The next video is called The Grow Environment, and we'll learn about the 4 tools all successful nonprofit leaders use to guarantee success. And I know you're going to love it. So once again, it's your turn. What you need to do is to download the Fast Lanes Donor Highway Framework, look at your email for the next video to the Grow environment, and don't forget to comment below and tell me what you thought of this video. The things that maybe you're not going to do, whether you were inspired to take action, or anything that lets me know that you're there and that you're following along. So keep an eye out for the Fast Lanes framework in the next video. I honor you for taking the time to invest in yourself and grow your nonprofit. Take care. I can't wait to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.